My girlfriend forgot to log out from my phone, and I read something that changed our relationship. There was a time when my girlfriend and I were going through a really rough patch. We were finally trying to fix things, but it wasn't easy. There was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of silence. We both wanted to make it work. We were choosing each other, but still, that doubt lingered. One day, we were on a bus and she didn't have her phone, but she wanted to show me a Tumblr post she had saved for me. So she logged into her Tumblr account on my phone and showed it to me. That was it. I didn't think much of it at the time. Later, when I got home, I saw she had forgotten to log out. I was about to do it myself when I noticed a 1 next to the Drafts tab. Just one draft. Curiosity got the better of me and I opened it. I had no intentions beyond that, just curiosity. We both write from time to time because we are into books and poetry and stuff. Inside the draft, I found a few lines. Something like, "Oh, but how do I love you when there is none of me left? My soul is shattered, and I do not know what to do with the remains." Not the exact words, but close. They stuck with me. They hurt. I knew she had been through some terrible things, and I didn't want to be selfish, but the thought started creeping in. Does she not love me completely? Am I just holding on to something that isn't all there? I logged out of her account. I didn't say anything, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I tried, but it just kept hurting the whole day. The next day was a special occasion for us, one of our days. We usually write each other letters, little ones filled with feelings. I gave her mine. She smiled softly and said she didn't write one this time. Instead, she handed me a book, 6 of Crows, one of the 2 books we had exchanged back when we were just starting to fall for each other. It had emotional weight. She told me to open it once I got home, so I did. There was a tiny piece of paper tucked into the front, asking me to turn to a specific page. Page 147. I flipped to it and found a passage she had underlined. Many boys will bring you flowers, but someday you'll meet a boy who will learn your favorite flower, your favorite song, your favorite sweet. And even if he is too poor to give you any of them, it won't matter because he will have taken the time to know you as no one else does. Only that boy earns your heart. And just after that, a character thinks, "I'm not sure I have a heart to give anymore, Papa." But right there, next to that line, my girl, in her beautiful handwriting, had written, "But when you do find the one, the shattered remains of it will stitch themselves back together and will only beat to his name." I set the book down and just sat in silence, crying. She never knew I read that draft, and I still haven't told her. But in that moment, I knew. She loved me. Entirely, in her own quiet, aching way. It's been a long time, but ever since then, our relationship has only grown stronger. I love her so much. Now for some comments. My husband looked me in the eyes, smiled, then proceeded to unclog the toilet for me, and that's how I knew he loved me in his own quiet, aching way. Congratulations on also finding true love, OP. LMFAO, congratulations to us both. In a similar light, I'm 21 and already having to turn to adult diapers. Before I finally caved to the reality of my situation, I wet myself at my boyfriend's. I called him to the bathroom, asked if he could get me a towel and a change of underwear while I was trying not to cry, and kept apologizing, saying I was super embarrassed. He came back with those things, gave me a kiss, and told me he loves me, and that he would never blame me for something I can't control. That's when I decided he's the one. If I piss on your floor at 21 and you're fine with it, I know you'll be fine when I do it again at 70. Well, that was a plot twist. A good one. Seriously, nearly in tears here. Yeah, I cried that day too. Next story. I saved my daughter from having a toxic mom. I, 29 male, got my then girlfriend pregnant as a teenager. We didn't find out until later in the pregnancy. My girlfriend didn't find out the gender because she was convinced she was having a boy. It turned out the baby was a girl, and my girlfriend freaked out. There was no way she could be a mom to a girl. A girl would be way too difficult. She was meant to have a boy. She tried co-parenting for the first 9 months of my daughter's life. She clearly wasn't happy or enjoying time with my daughter. I had endless support from my family, so I decided to give her an out. If she wanted to give up her rights, she could. and I would raise the baby myself with support from my family. That's exactly what happened. It's been over 11 years since then. I have the sweetest, silliest, smartest, girliest 12-year-old daughter. We have made a great life together. Friday, I saw a few friends from my hometown. When talking and catching up, I was told my ex-girlfriend, my daughter's biological mom, is now a huge boy mom and makes it her whole personality. I decided to look her up on social media. They weren't exaggerating at all. All her posts were about her 2 young sons, how she loved having boys and being a boy mama, how her boys have shown her true love, etc., etc. In that moment, looking through her social media, I realized I made the best choice for my little girl. My daughter is exactly who she is. She loves sparkles, pink, is a competitive dancer, can also kill it on the tennis courts with her pink racket, loves getting dressed up, is dramatic in the best way possible, can always make me laugh and put a smile on my face, is the best buddy for a long road trip, is very talkative, etc., etc. I couldn't imagine my daughter being any different than exactly who she is. She's my shining star. I think if her birth mother had stayed in her life for too long, it would have dimmed my daughter's amazing personality. Your daughter sounds great, and your ex sounds like the type of mom her kids' girlfriends will dread in the future. It's also sad that she thinks girls are too much work, because she's basically saying she's going to put no effort into parenting her sons, which has literally led to the current issue of boys and men barely being self-sufficient and expecting their wives to do everything. Good luck to her kids. Your daughter is lucky. I never get moms who are like this. It comes off almost incestuous to me. I happen to be a mother with a boy, and the term boy mom makes my skin crawl. A mom is a mom. My mom wanted a boy as well, and I could sense her rejection in every action. I'm sorry you dealt with that. I couldn't imagine rejecting my child because of their gender. For what it's worth, I was a girl who was shamed and put down for liking anything remotely girly growing up. Conservative Mormon family, second youngest of 10 kids and youngest daughter to boot. It wasn't until I was all grown up and cut my family off that I learned a lesson that it sounds like you've already taught your daughter. You can be a badass and be girly at the same time. I learned how to carve wood and fix 3D printers while wearing a tight dress and high heels. I kick my boyfriend's butt at video games and then arrange a bouquet of flowers. Your daughter dominates on the tennis court with a pink racket. All of this is to say, I wish I had a parent like you growing up, who taught me that liking pink and sparkly things doesn't make you lesser. It makes you freaking awesome. That's awesome to hear. Glad you were able to realize that as you grew older. My daughter is everything girly, but can also hold her own in anything seen as masculine. Like will roll up her sleeves and help me with projects around the house, while wearing sparkly pink nail polish and plenty of jewelry. Will yell and root for sports with me, and then perform a beautiful dance piece. Next story. Being an affair baby made my parents hate me as I grew up because I started to resemble my biological father. Long story short, I was conceived by an affair my mom had with another guy. My non-biological dad took her back eventually, and they decided to raise me along with their other kids. I've had a rocky relationship with them, to say the least. As far as I remember, my relationship with my parents was decent when I was young, but it got worse and worse as I got older. I noticed it particularly leading into my high school years. I was homeschooled my entire life along with my siblings, but for some reason, my parents decided to put me in public school full-time when I entered high school, and I was the only kid they did this to. It was daunting enough considering I didn't know anyone, but on top of that, it felt like my parents just started hating me. It became impossible to talk to them because they would lose their temper at me so much, but also they quit doing things for me. Helping with schoolwork, buying me clothes when I grew, attending my sports events, driving me places. Just stuff like that constantly. I remember I broke my phone my sophomore year and didn't get another one until the middle of junior year. On top of that, the sex ed they gave me was absolutely suffocating. I didn't take sex ed in school and had a hard no dating rule through high school, which was a shame because I got lots of attention from girls. When they gave me the talk, it honestly was just a big scolding. They were always preachy and weird about romance and relationships, because they are religious conservatives, but they were particularly harsh with me considering my situation. By the end of my talk, I still had no idea what sex even was. In fact, I literally didn't know what a female genital looked like until I saw one in person with a secret girlfriend. The only time they ever acknowledged my sexuality was when they took opportunities to shame me. My adulthood was the complete opposite, though. As soon as I graduated, I was sent on my way with a trade job and moved out, and they had absolutely no rules or involvement, total distance. Meanwhile, they paid for my other siblings to go to college. I think it was hard on my family seeing me grow up because I started to resemble my biological father. I don't know much about him, but I guess I started to look, sound, and act like him, which my dad angrily pointed out on a few occasions, and so did my extended family. I became taller and, honestly, better looking than my siblings, which intimidated them and made my parents even more uncomfortable. It's pretty seriously affected my ability to make friends and have romantic relationships in my life, which is a shame because it's all I've ever wanted for as long as I can remember. But even getting female attention currently makes me nervous and uncomfortable because I despise my own genes. Me just living in my own skin is repulsive to me. I'll warn dads out there raising kids like me. I hope you aren't too haunted by the other guy, because as the kid grows, he's probably going to remind you of him more and more. My mom hates my deadbeat father and takes it out on me. She says I'm just like him, then lists all the bad things about him, that he's stupid, lazy, selfish, etc. I wish parents would not take out their mistakes on their children who had no choice in the matter. Sorry to hear that. It really is unfortunate that parents do that, because it just never helps anything in my opinion. It always just makes the kid resent themselves for no reason. Please call out your father for staying married to a cheater. Even though you weren't to blame, he needs to know that the anger of raising someone else's kid should have been directed towards your mother, as she had the nerve to be angry at you for existing when she was the one who decided to spread her legs for another man. Send them your Reddit post, because if that's how they act, then why didn't your dad divorce your cheating mother, as it was her fault to begin with? Yeah, it's a really touchy subject in our family, and I've always thought about calling them out. But at this point, I'm just afraid to. Something about it feels like I'm violating nature to speak up. But yeah, I wish my dad wasn't so haunted by this. I think part of the reason my mom was distant is because she didn't want to honor the other man. But I probably won't ever show them this post lol. It'd cause way more problems than solves probably. Last story. How do I tell my girlfriend why I won't get a vasectomy? My girlfriend 23 female and I 21 male are extremely close. She's my best friend. We've been together for 3 years and eventually we're getting married. But it's not a huge priority right now due to college and other situations. She's very innocent, and therefore believes it's impossible we would ever split up. I admire her enthusiasm and don't see it happening either. But coming from divorced parents, obviously I know rational people don't get married expecting a divorce, and that anything is possible. Neither of us want kids, but especially not her. I could do it just fine if she really wanted them, but I'd prefer not to. Now, with that being said, if we were to break up, and I ended up with another woman who really wanted kids, I'd like to be able to have the option. I've never been a fan of burning bridges, and I'd consider my balls a fairly good bridge lol. My girlfriend has been cheated on and had rough relationships in the past with other people, so she struggles with trust. I'm worried that if I tell her this, she'll have the thought in the back of her head that I'm planning to leave her for someone who wants kids. Obviously, that's not true, but why create unnecessary stress? Therefore, I'm not sure how exactly to tell her this, or if I even should. Up until now, I've just been telling her that I'm afraid of the operation, but I hate lying to her. For some more context, she has major anxiety around doctors and related fields, so she is super against tying her tubes, or something similar, which I definitely understand. She also doesn't do well with over-the-counter birth control. Her hormones don't agree with them, unfortunately. This is one of those situations where no is a complete sentence. Love how the girlfriend has all these noble reasons for not preventing pregnancies using methods under her control. hates doctors, bad hormone reactions, etc., etc., but is forcing someone else to go through a procedure. Tell her you are not comfortable with it, just like she is not comfortable with the options available to her. Since she is the one deciding against kids, the onus is on her to prevent them, with your cooperation. This is in her absolute control, and there are other options besides OTC. She seems to be finding all the reasons that would make the only option be for you to do your surgery. Manipulative and controlling. And we would say the same thing if it was a woman asking this question about her partner wanting her to tie her tubes against her desires. This situation is actually a no-brainer, equal consideration to each party involved. This was one of the reasons I was wary to post here. I feel like sometimes Reddit can be a place where OPs word their posts to villainize the other party. She is in no way manipulative or controlling. My mom did that to me for years as a kid. I know what it looks like, and it's not my girlfriend. I appreciate your insight and warning, but she's no villain here. She's my partner that I want to work through this in the best way possible with. And I came here to get some extra external opinions. Thanks. You're 21 years old. Things change. Don't make any decisions that could affect your whole life. I agree with this regarding kids. Some people know at 21 they don't ever want kids, and that never changes. Some people at 21 don't ever want kids, but then they change their mind. Some people at 21 want kids, but change their mind later, and don't. What we want in our 30s is often different from what we want in our 20s, because we become different people. At 20, I knew I never wanted kids. At 22, it flipped, and today I know I want at least one. Of course, things can change, quickly or slowly. In my case, I was with the wrong partner, someone who wouldn't have been a good parent. Now I'm with someone who would be a fantastic one, and that's what changed it for me. Edit. I hear you guys. I definitely agree. We're young and have a long ways to go. I definitely should have prefaced by saying that this isn't a decision we're wanting to make this instant, just a conversation that has come up before, that I wasn't exactly sure how to talk through. We're working on her anxiety because I agree that a doctor could have some good insight as to prescribed birth control or even other options. I also hear you guys that vasectomies are reversible, which does make it much easier to stomach. I did know this, but I guess I didn't weigh it as much as I could have. Additionally, she's not pressuring me to do anything. I might have accidentally given off the message that she was pushing me toward getting it, which isn't true. She just mentioned it. I said no, and that was the whole thing. I just like to always have reasons for things, and I feel like she deserves to hear mine. Thanks for the insight. Didn't expect this much attention. I hear everyone's insight and I greatly appreciate it. I definitely have more maturing to do, thanks. I've got the info I was looking for.